Okay, so I've decided to start keeping a video journal regarding my depression. Um, I've struggled with depression pretty much my entire life. It's been pretty fucked up. Like grade school, I literally had no friends. I was the one kid everyone bullied. High school, I didn't really have any friends till near the end. I got accepted because I beat the shit out of one of the kids that had me jumped, and then he videotaped it and uploaded it to YouTube, and people saw it. And said, then I said I wanted to fight him one on one, and people had my back, and I got to fight him one on one because people made sure his friends didn't jump in, and I beat the living shit out of him. But I mean, it was my entire young life was just being treated like trash by everyone else, and I think it's really been ingrained into my psyche and why I'm so prone to depression, whereas most people wouldn't have that issue. It's I was doing fine up until the end of my most recent relationship, where I was actually in love with someone, but of course I gravitated towards someone who had her own issues, and I thought she had overcome them, but she hadn't. And she's young and she's still figuring things out, and it's not entirely her fault. I mean, there were outside forces, outside events and such that brought an end to our relationship that were outside either of our control, but we could have gotten through it if she was in a better place, but she wasn't. I was really happy. I was more inspired and happier than I'd ever been in my entire life, and just the end of that, it just sent me spiraling down into this most recent episode of depression. But yeah, I mean, there's been many periods in my life where I thought about taking my own life. Like, even now, it's like, I'm not afraid of death. It's like, it's either nothingness, which isn't that big a deal. Like, life hasn't been that great, so, just, let's say falling asleep and never waking up again. I mean, that doesn't seem all that bad. Or there's a possibility that there's an afterlife, and I don't imagine that, it's like what most organized religions would describe it as, where, if you take your own life and you burn in hell, like as if a creator would make it so that your life is completely miserable and it's so fucked up that you take your own life and then you burn in hell for all of eternity. Why would you create that, an entity like that? Why would you put them in that situation and then make it so hard that if they take their own life, they burn in hell? Like I understand the purpose of it, and the purpose of it's the same reason they had the laws against eating like shellfish, and like different religions have different rules about against eating certain foods. It's not because it's actually sinful; it's because those foods at the time had a high possibility of causing severe reactions that resulted in death. Like whatever if you trace it back historically, whatever animal they say don't eat, it's usually because there was some sort of disease where a lot of people died as a result, and they linked it back to that, and they said, oh, God must be punishing us for eating that. And basically it's just to avoid the deaths associated with eating that certain type of food. The same reason, and so why we have this, why a lot of organized religions, prohibit suicide, is that they don't want a lot of people taking their own lives because it's not good for society. If if they think that they can take their own life and they go to heaven, then you'll have just mass suicides anytime someone experiences like a terrible life. So, your blacksmith, like, his wife died and his children died, he'd take his own life. Now you're out of the town's out of a blacksmith, and then you can just have mass suicides, and it would just not be good for the society as a whole for people to be committing suicide in a highly religious society. And thinking they could go to heaven, that would be very bad for society, so they prohibit it. But if there is an actual creator, an actual, something beyond, greater than ourselves, I personally think we're living in a simulation, or maybe just I am, who knows, because I'm only aware of my own consciousness. But I think that this is most likely a computer simulation. I don't think about it that much, but I guess, it's most probable that we live in a computer simulation, because if you think about how realistic, you know, simulations can get, you look at video games 40 years ago versus today and where they're headed, eventually they'll be indistinguishable from real life, and then you'll have the ability to hook up a brain, like Matrix style, to a computer and create an entire universe where everything you taste, touch, feel, smell, feel and touch, same thing. But regardless, it can be completely simulated. So, and I think there's a purpose to the simulation. I just don't know what it is. I mean, I have a few theories, but it's also possible that this isn't a simulation. But I mean, if you look at Nick Bostrom's arguments, I believe he's a professor of philosophy at Stanford University. I believe it's Stanford. Nick Bostrom, B-O-S-T-R-O-M, Nick Bostrom, if you're interested in his simulation hypothesis. That would seem to be the most likely metaphysical reality, if there is a metaphysical reality. But regardless, yeah, I just don't fucking know, man. I just don't fucking know. It could be something else too, entirely. I know what I don't know, but I'm getting off point here. The point is, my life fucking sucks. I do not want to do anything. Even the simplest things. I don't want to confront reality. I just want to, watch movies all day, ignore reality, and, even the simplest tasks, it takes a lot out of me. It's reading emails. I don't want to do that. I don't want to read emails. I don't want to clean my car, clean my room. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything. Even taking a shower, it takes a lot of mental energy from me. I mean, that's how depressed I am, where it's just doing the simplest things, it takes all this effort out of me. That's how I'm pretty fucking depressed. I'm pretty fucking depressed right now, man. I'm pretty in a shitty. I'm in a pretty shitty state right now, and it's I need to get out of this fucking. I need to get out of this this valley, this ditch, this pit I'm in. I need to crawl out of it, and just continue on, man. And it sucks that, things are where they are, but I have to identify the needs in my life that aren't being met, my social needs, my emotional needs, and I need to meet them so I'm no longer depressed, I need to get back out there, start dating again, and I need to change my perspective on life. I need to make videos every single day, and I'm going to get really good podcast equipment. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm getting a new place. Right now I'm staying with my parents as I had a rough economic time. I ran into some issues, and a bunch of shit went down, and I'm just staying with them right now, but about to move back out because it's much more depressing living there than even just living by myself in a place where, I just feel good, I just want my apartment to have a lot of art and just be a really good place, and for it to, just be my own little palace. And I wanted to, have a little office space and place where creative space for creativity, a place for, where I'm able to make podcasts. It has the mic and all the equipment set up and ready to go, and all that jazz, and my library and my paintings on the wall. And I just wanted to be a place that brings out my creative side, and I want that. I want it to be beautiful. I want my place to be absolutely beautiful, and that's what I'm really looking forward to, is having that and enjoying it. Right now, man, it's depression just, it hurts. It's physically painful. Depression is physically painful. That's how fucking bad it is. That's how fucking bad it is. Depression fucking hurts, man. It fucking hurts real bad. It's like being wounded, but worse, It's fucked up. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just chronicle me trying to get shit done today. So.